Lie down on your back. Bring your knees towards your chest. Hands go onto the knees, and just start by drawing circles with the knees. Bring knees away from one another, together, away from your chest, all around in a circular motion. Reverse the direction. Bring your knees back together. And continue drawing circles with the knees, but this time the knees stay together. Your hands are still on your knees, helping them, guide them a little bit. Continue drawing circles with the knees stay all the way together. Notice how the weight is shifting on the pelvis from one side to the other. You might have heard the term pelvic clock. It's an exercise that typically Pilates teachers and physical therapists use. Reverse the direction of circles. And it's just an exercise where you imagine that your pelvis is a clock, like a clock face, and then you go to all the different positions, like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So that's what we're basically doing here. So we're shifting the weight side to side. Lower the feet down to the mat. And then, since I mentioned it, let's try that. So usually in my classes I do just that. If you want the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, let's work on the 3 and 9 o'clock as well. You can imagine your pelvis is a clock or a clock face. You want to shift the weight into 6 o'clock, which would be the bottom where the pubic bone is. And you go to 12 o'clock. So this is an arch of the lower back as you go to 6 o'clock. And then you round the lower back a little bit as you go to 12 o'clock. Go one more time in each direction here. And then come back to more or less a neutral position, somewhere between the two. And then start shifting the weight side to side. You shift the weight to 3 o'clock and then to 9 o'clock. So you're not necessarily lifting the hip up. You don't want to go that far. You just shift a little bit more weight onto one side and then the other. You can place your fingertips onto your belly, the lower abdomen. You will feel how the abdominals engage to accommodate the different positions, the different movements. And then still you can draw a circle, or more of a square, I guess. Go to 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. You can pause in every position, or you can turn it into more of a circular movement. And just moving the pelvis in different directions. Reverse the direction. You can imagine this would be helpful if you do belly dancing and things like that. And then come back to neutral. Find a neutral position in the pelvis. That means that you're not arching the lower back too much. You're not necessarily rounding the lower back either. You're somewhere in the middle. And you also have equal amount of weight on the right and left sides of the pelvis. Maintain that neutral position of pelvis. Lift the feet up into tabletop position. Extend the arms towards the ceiling so the fingertips are directly over the shoulders. If you need to, you can always bring the arms down towards your body. From here, straighten one leg away from your center of gravity while maintaining neutral position of pelvis. Bend the leg back to start position and then switch. Extend the other leg away from you and bend it. Continue alternating. For now, just the legs. One leg reaches forward and down, then it comes back to neutral, and then you switch. And switch. And switch. Stay with this variation or add the arms to it. As the right leg reaches forward, left arm goes alongside the left ear. Come back to center. Right arm alongside the right ear, left leg reaches forward and down. You want that other arm and leg to stay in the starting position. That way you challenge your abdominal muscles. They will have to work pretty hard on maintaining the neutral pelvis. If you let the opposite arm and leg to move as well, closer towards your body, that's much, much easier. You can try a few reps like this, where the bent knee and top arm are moving as well. It's going to be, again, easier. Whatever you do, even yourself out, come back to center, bring your knees towards your chest, rock from side to side. For the next few exercises, we're going to have the head and shoulder blades lifted. You can either place a yoga block or something under the back of the head. You can always clasp your hands and support your head with your hands if you prefer. So, however you want to do it, lift the head and shoulder blades off the mat. You want the neck to stay nice and long. You want the abdominals to be engaged here. Keep your right knee in your chest. Straighten your left leg away from you, just like we did a moment ago. Place both hands onto your right shin, unless you're supporting your head with your hands. Kick the shin into your hands if you can curl a little higher up. Now you stay this high up as you switch your legs. Left knee into your chest, right leg extends, and switch, and switch, and switch. Keep going. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to the right side. Right knee towards your chest. And kick the shin into your hands. Maybe lift a little higher up. Keep your right knee where it is. Keep your left leg where it is. Bring your fingertips alongside the ears or hands behind the head. Stay lifted. Rotate to the right. Left elbow reaches towards the right knee. Come back through the center. Hug the left knee tightly towards your chest. Then rotate to the left. Right elbow towards the left knee. Through the center. Pull the knee into your chest. Then rotate. Center. And rotate. So what I would like you to do, to try, is that you bring the knee towards your chest first, and then you add the rotation. Bring it towards your chest, then rotate. Last 4 like this. 3. Last 2. 1 more. Come back to center and rest. Head and shoulder blades go down. Knees towards your chest, rock from side to side. Extend both legs up towards the ceiling. Place your hands behind your thighs. Bend and straighten both legs. Keep your legs straight, point and flex the feet. Keep your legs straight or as straight as it's comfortable for you. Hands are somewhere on your legs, on your thighs, tops of your thighs, or on your shins. Lift the head and shoulder blades off the mat. Your hands reach up towards the feet or towards the toes, and then slowly lower back down. If you need to, you could even hold onto your legs to pull yourself up, and then slowly lower back down. Again, easier option, you hold onto your legs, you pull yourself up, you're still holding onto your legs as you lower that down. A little more challenging variation, your hands reach up towards the toes as you curl up, and then you slowly lower back down. When you're lowering down, your lower ribs are still hugging in towards one another. Don't let them flare out. Keep going, curl up. What we're working on is we're articulating the spine, we're peeling the spine off the mat, one vertebra at a time, as high up as we can go. And we slowly lower the spine back down, one vertebra at a time. Just one more. Lift up. Stay here. If you're holding onto your legs, you're just going to hold that. If you can, bring your hands all the way together. Squeeze your hands together, and then both hands reach to the outside of your right foot. Come back to center. Both hands reach to the outside of your left foot. Back to center. Keep going. To the outside of the right foot. Center. To the outside of the left foot. Back to center. Last 6 like this. 5. 4. 3. 2, even yourself out, come back to center, and slowly lower all the way back down. Keep your head on the mat, keep your legs where they are, and from here, open your legs out wide. You don't have to go as wide as possible. Bring your legs back together. We still have the neutral pelvis, so lower back should not be arching excessively. Your lower ribs should not be sticking out. They're hugging in towards one another. Open the legs out to the side into a V shape, and bring your legs back together. Open and close. Now keep the legs together. Start with the legs together, arms alongside the body. Maintain a neutral pelvis. Open just the right leg out to the side and bring back to center. And adjust the left leg out to the side, back to center. Keep alternating. Right leg out to the side, center, left leg out to the side, and back to the center. Now it looks easy, and it is a relatively easy exercise, yes, but you're still working pretty hard, hopefully, on maintaining a neutral pelvis. So if you go back to that pelvic clock that we did earlier, you want to have equal amount of weight on those 4 points that we were moving between in the pelvis. So you are not shifting weight side to side too much. There has to be a little bit of transfer of weight, but you don't want the pelvis to be shifting side to side. So it's the job of your abdominal muscles to maintain a neutral pelvis, a neutral position in the midsection. Even yourself out, and then bring your knees into your chest, head is still down, rock from side to side. Start with a knees bend, lift the head and shoulder blades off the mat. Right leg goes up, left leg about halfway down. Walk your hands up somewhere between knee and ankle if you can. Draw the leg towards your chest. No pulses for now, just bring the leg towards your chest. Head and shoulder blades are lifted. Shoulders are away from the ears, neck is long. Switch your legs, bring your left knee towards your chest, hold it here. There's still a soft bend in the knee, you don't want to lock the knee out. Switch your legs again. Switch and switch. The leg is coming towards your chest. You're not necessarily grabbing the leg and pulling it towards you. I hope you feel the difference. The leg comes towards your chest. So you should be able, you want to be able to do the same movement without using your hands necessarily. So if you want to bring your hands behind the back of the head, do exactly the same movement without using your hands. Pelvis is still as neutral as possible. Lower back is not rounding here. Hips are not lifting up. Even yourself out with this variation. And next time your right leg is up, pause there. Dorsiflex both feet. Draw the toes towards the knees. Now we add the pulses. Pulse the top leg twice towards your chest. Pulse, pulse, switch your legs. Pulse, pulse, switch. Pulse, pulse, switch, pulse, pulse. Continue alternating. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Even yourself out and then rest. Head down, knees towards your chest. Rock from side to side. Double leg stretch. We're going to start with the knees and the chest. Lift the head and shoulders off the mat. Straighten just the legs away from your center of gravity. Hug the knees back into your chest. Straighten the legs and bend. If this is too easy, add the arms so arms go overhead as the legs extend. On an exhale, hug everything back in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, hug back in. Just 3 more like this. Last 2. Last one is a hold. Extend the legs or legs and arms. Hold it there for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the knees towards your chest. Head down. Rock from side to side. Lower your feet down to the mat. Straighten your legs fully. Feet about hip width or maybe even slightly further apart. Take the arms overhead for a moment for a full body stretch. Send your arms up towards the ceiling, fingertips are over the shoulders. Inhale here to prepare. As you exhale, slowly start peeling the spine off the mat to roll all the way up to a seated position. Once you come up, round your spine again, fold over your legs, fingers reach towards the toes. Stack your spine, shoulders over the hips. You can grab your ball if you have one, close by. Squeeze the ball between palms of your hands, round your spine, slowly start lowering the spine back down, one vertebra at a time. So earlier we had the legs straight up towards the ceiling. We're peeling the upper back off the mat. Now we're peeling the whole spine off the mat. Start with the fingertips over the shoulders. Inhale here. As you exhale, slowly start peeling the spine off the mat. Roll all the way up. Spine is still round at the top. Fingers reach towards the toes. Lengthen your spine on top. Shoulders over the hips. Collarbones wide. Shoulders away from the ears. Round your spine. Tailbones lengthening towards the heels. Slowly lower it down. Focus on lowering the spine down one piece at a time, one vertebra at a time. A few more like this. Slowly roll up. The lower your arms go on the way up, on the way down, the easier it's going to be. If you want to challenge yourself more, arms reach up towards the sky. And anything in between, of course. It's not just parallel to the ground or overhead. There are other options in between the two. Keep going. Inhale at the bottom. On an exhale, slowly roll up. Fold over your legs at the top. Stack your spine, shoulders over the hips, and then slowly roll back down. Next time we are up, we stay there. Find that forward fold. And then stack your spine again, pause here. Legs may stay straight if it's comfortable, and for your hamstrings, for your lower back. If you prefer, you can always bend your knees for this one. Start with the arms parallel to the ground. Round your spine here. Roll down just about halfway. Just halfway down. Whatever that is for you. The spine is rounded. Abdominals are working here. From here, if you have a ball, grab it with your right hand. Open your right arm out to the side. Look towards your right hand. Come back through the center. Grab the ball with the left hand. Open left arm to the left. Look towards your left hand. Back to center. Keep going. To the right. Add the rotation, center to the left, and center. To the right, center, and to the left. The ball is not really adding weight or anything, so if you don't have one, you just do it without a ball. That's totally fine. Even yourself out, come back to center. Inhale here. As you exhale, roll all the way back up to a seated position. Arms parallel to the ground. Inhale here. As you exhale, roll down halfway. Squeeze the hands together. You're squeezing either the ball or the hands together. Hips stay where they are. Rotate to the right. Back to center. Rotate to the left. Back to center. Keep going. To the right. Center. To the left. Your hands or the ball, if you're holding one, stay directly in front of your sternum. Directly in front of the center of your chest. You don't want the arms to go deeper into the rotation, what would look like rotation, so you don't want the arms to go all the way out to the side. Your hands stay directly in front of your sternum. Do just one more time each side. Even yourself out. Come back to center. Inhale here. As you exhale, roll all the way back up. We're going to repeat one more, and we're going to go a little higher up, so the arms lift a little higher. Again, there's a lot of degrees. You can be parallel to the ground, a little higher, maybe all the way overhead. All the way overhead would be the most challenging. Just make sure that if you do go this high up, or however high up you go, make sure your lower back doesn't start arching. So you still want to maintain that slight rounding and the spine. Start at the center, round your spine, roll down about halfway. Spine is rounded, abdominals are engaged. Lift the arms slightly higher up, and then from there, rotate to one side, through the center, rotate to the other side, center. And if you bring the arms high up and you notice that it's too much, that you're losing proper form, or that you're compensating by arching the spine, simply bring the arms a little lower. Last 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, even yourself out, come back to center, and all the way back up. Put the ball to the side. Keep your legs slightly bent or more or less straight. Open the arms wide. Inhale here to prepare. As you exhale, rotate to one side. Your shoulders stay over the hips, you just rotate. Come back through the center. Inhale here. Exhale, rotate to the other side. Keep going. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Continue alternating. We're going to add a little bit more oblique work to this. Even yourself out. The next time you go to your first side, remains the right. Rotate to the right. Your arms stay open in a T position. Your right hand, your back hand reaches down towards the floor. You come back through the center. Rotate to the other side. Hand reaches towards the floor. Back to center. Let me show you from this side. You're not arching your back to go back. You rotate, and then you hamstring the hips. You lean back. You come back into the rotation, shoulders over the hips. Rotate all the way to the other side. Hand reaches down and back. Back to center and twist. Through the center and twist. 2 more on each side. Through the center and twist. Through the center and rotate. 1 more each side. Even yourself out. Come back to center and release. Relax the arms as well. Take your ball, place it between your inner thighs. Plant your feet fully on the mat, arms in front of you. Round your spine, through the center, lower all the way down to your back. If you need to slide the feet closer in so that your ankles are more or less under your knees, press the arms down into the mat, press the feet down into the mat. You squeeze the ball about 40-50% effort. Press your lower back into the mat so the tailbone curls up towards the ceiling, and then slowly continue rolling up into your bridge. Your glutes will be engaged at the top, hamstrings are engaged, you're still squeezing the ball. Again, about half, like 50% effort. Slowly allow the spine and the hips lower back down. Keep going, slowly roll up. And slowly lower back down. 3 more like this, roll up. And down. Last 2, roll up. Now lower down. Going to stay up on the last one, roll up into your bridge. Feet are pressing down, energetically drawing your feet back towards the shoulders. Squeeze the ball a little harder, relax just a little. Squeeze and relax, that's 2. Squeeze and relax, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, last 2, squeeze and relax. One more time, squeeze and hold it. Continue squeezing the ball. Glutes are engaged as well, hamstrings, arms are pressing down into the mat. Hold it, last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue squeezing the ball as you slowly melt the spine back down to the mat. Exactly the same setup, roll up into your bridge. Look at your thighs for a moment. You want them to stay parallel to one another so one hip doesn't go higher than the other. From here, straighten one leg, lift the foot off the mat, straighten the leg, bend the knee, lower the foot back down. Straighten the other leg, foot lifts up, bend the knee, lower the foot back down. If we don't pay attention to what's happening in the pelvis, that leg that is straightening is going to lift up higher. We want to avoid that as much as possible. So hips stay even as possible. Glutes are engaged. Abdominals work really hard. You'll feel the work in your obliques a little bit more. You're straightening one leg at a time. Keeping the thighs as even, as parallel to one another as possible. Next time you are on the right side, stay there. Thighs are still parallel to one another. Squeeze the ball here and relax a little. Squeeze and relax. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last 2. One more. Switch legs. Right foot goes down. Lift the left leg up. Thighs are parallel to one another. Squeeze the ball. Relax. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Both feet to the mat and then slowly lower all the way back down. Keep the ball where it is. Walk the feet a little further forward. Targeting the hamstrings a little bit more. If you can, if you want to, lift the heels up so that you are on the balls of the feet. You're still squeezing the ball, pillow, towel, whatever you have between your inner thighs. Heels are lifted, press the arms down, press the lower back into the mat, tailbone curls up, continue rolling up into your bridge. And slowly lower back down. Just 4 more like this, roll up. And down. 3 more, roll up. Down. Last 2, roll up. And down. One more time, we're going to stay there on the next one. Roll up into your bridge. Heels are lifted if it works for you. Squeeze the ball here. Relax a little. Squeeze. Relax. 2, 3, 4. Tailbone is still curling up towards the ceiling. Abdominals are still engaged. Lower ribs are hugging in towards one another. 4 more. 3, 2, 1. Squeeze the ball. Continue squeezing the ball. Lower the heels down and lift them back up. You still squeeze the ball. Heels go down and up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last 2. 1 more. Heels down. Lift the heels up. You're still squeezing the ball. Slowly lower all the way back down. Open your knees a little bit. Just let the ball drop down between your legs. And then find the ball with your feet. foam roller would work really well for this one. So feet on the foam roller, you can roll forward and back. That works really well too. Ball, even pillow, will give you a little bit of that instability, so that we challenge proprioception. Arms are pressing down. You will feel it even more here that it is really crucial to press the arms down. When you do that, your lats engage. Your latissimus dorsi on one side, glutes on the opposite side work together. So we want the lats to be engaged here. Your feet are pretty close to one another, especially if you have that Pilates Mini ball. It's very small. If your feet are together, your knees should be together or close to one another as well. Press the feet down, press the arms down, roll up into your bridge, and slowly roll back down. Keep going, roll up, and down. It's 2, roll up. Arms are pressing down. Next is in a neutral position here, you're looking straight up towards the ceiling. 3, roll up, and down. 5. And if you're not sure about what I'm saying about the arms, you can always take the arms out of it by sending the arms up towards the ceiling. You try a few repetitions this way. And maybe you want that extra challenge, so feel free to try it. Arms up as the hips go up and slowly lower back down. Let's do 2 more. Roll up and down. You stay up on the next one. Roll up into your bridge, whatever variation you have. Squeeze the glutes a little harder, lift the hips a little higher up, relax the glutes just a little bit. Squeeze a little harder and relax. When you squeeze the glutes, your hips should be lifting up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, last 2. 1 more. Continue squeezing the glutes as hard as you can as you slowly lower the spine and the hips back down to the mat. Lower the arms down as well. Grab your ball in your hands with your feet and then pass it onto your hands. Roll over onto one side. Towel will be perfectly fine for this next exercise. Again, the ball, especially because this is how you want to inflate it, right? So it has a little bit of give, so you can squeeze it. You're going to place that ball, towel, whatever you have, behind the knee. It's a little easier if you can bring the ball between the heel and the sits bone. That will be more challenging. If you're not sure where to place it, just try it here and squeeze the ball as hard as you can. If it's between the heel and the sits bone and you squeeze the ball, your hamstrings and or your calf muscles may start cramping up. If that happens, simply bring it higher up towards the knee. So wherever you need to have that. Let's stay on the forearm for today, unless you need to modify. And then I talk about this all the time. Notice what happens with the pelvis. Sometimes we tend to do this. So if you see that this side is shortening, I'm tilting my pelvis. So if you go back to the pelvic lock in the very beginning, we don't have the pelvis supported by the mat from the back, but you can still imagine that my pelvis is tilting to one side. I want to even that out as much as possible so that the left side and right side of the waist are same length if you want. When you do that, you will feel the engagement in the obliques on the bottom side, and that's what we want. So avoid this. Push down into the forearm. You're going to keep both legs bent. You're still squeezing that ball. Hope your hamstrings are not cramping up yet. And from here, keep the feet relatively close to one another. Just lift the knee up. The top knee lifts and lowers. If you're holding that ball there, your feet may not touch. Maybe they do. Lift and lower the top knee. So you're still squeezing the ball. So focus on the heel coming towards the sits bone, whether the ball is behind the knee or between the heel and the sits bone. You're still pressing down with that forearm. Obliques on the bottom side engaged, and then we're adding glutes to it. So the gluteus maximus on the top leg, that's where you should feel the work, in addition to the hamstrings, of course. Lift the knee up, lower the knee down. From here, keep the knees close to one another, lift the foot up, so internally rotate the hip, and then lower back down. Knees stay close to one another, not necessarily all the way together. Foot lifts up, and then lowers back down. You want to see the movement in the thigh bone of the top leg. The thigh bone is literally rotating inside the socket. Pelvis is still as neutral as possible, obliques engaged. Now we're working the smaller gluteal muscles, hamstrings. If you start feeling work in the front side of the shin, that's probably because you're flexing the foot like this. So you can point the foot instead. Lift the foot as high as you can and lower. That was about 10. Lift the foot up. Stay here with the internal rotation. Lift the whole leg up and lower down. The leg stays internally rotated. Lift and lower. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last 2. One more. Bring your leg back to a neutral position so that the whole leg is pretty much parallel to the ground. Your spine stays as is. Don't let the spine round or extend. Bring it towards your chest as close as you can. And if you round the spine, you will be able to create the illusion of the knee coming closer to the chest. Spine stays nice and long as you bring it towards your chest. Abdominals work. Keep your spine nice and long as you bring your leg back, 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 as far back as you can go until the glutes engage. Hamstrings are already engaged because of the ball. Keep going. Knee towards your chest. Spine stays long. No rounding the spine. Knee goes behind you. Hip extension. Hip flexion. Abdominals, hip flexors work. Hip extension, glutes work. Hamstrings work all the time because of the ball. 6 more like this. Front and back. Last 5. Front and back. Are your obliques on the bottom side still engaged? Last 4. 3. 2. One more time. Bring it towards your chest. Bring the knee into hip into extension. Press the leg back and then squeeze the ball. Relax a little. Squeeze the ball a little harder and relax. Knee stays, hip stays in extension. So you have a straight line from your shoulder to your hip to your knee. 6, 5, pulse the ball. 4, 3, 2. Last time, squeeze the ball and hold it, hold it, hold it. Continue squeezing the ball. Continue pressing the hips forward. Your hamstrings are probably talking to you. Hold it. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release the ball. Grab it with your hand. Bring the leg in front of you. Stretch the leg in front of you, literally like so. Flex the foot. Should feel nice on the hamstrings to be done with this. And the glutes too. And then lift up and switch to your second side. Again, if you can't stay on your forearm, if that becomes too much for whatever reason, lower all the way down onto your side. Wherever you are, you want to have that engagement in the obliques, in your abdominals. So avoid, make sure that the pelvis is not tilting over to one side, like so. Both legs stay bent, the bottom leg stays bent the whole time, the top one as well, because you are holding a ball. You want to place the ball roughly where it was on the first side, so directly behind the knee is less intense. Between the heel and the sit bone is more intense, and again you have options in between. We're starting with external rotation of the top hip. Feet stay relatively close to one another, maybe all the way to touch. You're squeezing the ball wherever it is. Hips in a neutral position, obliques on the bottom side engaged. You're pushing down into your forearm so your shoulder girdle muscles are engaged as well. Lift the knee up and lower down. Knee goes up and down. If you like to feel what part of your body is working, you place your fingers right about here. That's your gluteus maximus. Big, big muscle. You should feel the work there. Feet stay together for the first one, just knees lifting up. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Knees close to one another. Lift the foot up and lower it down. So we're not lifting the whole leg. Knees stay relatively close to one another. Lift the foot up and lower it down. You're internally rotating this hip. You're still pushing down, abdominals engaged, glutes, hamstrings engaged. Notice whether you're pointing or flexing the foot. We tend to flex because it's easier, but you may start feeling a lot of work in your tibialis anterior, which is a muscle on the front side of the shin, and you want to feel it more in the hamstrings and the calf muscles, if anything. Lift and lower. Let's do 2 more like this. 1 more. Bring the leg back to a neutral position so that the leg is parallel to the ground. You're still lifting up here, abdominals engaged. Keep the spine neutral. Bring the knee towards your chest. without rounding the spine, and bring your leg back. When you bring the leg back, you go into hip extension. So your glutes are working. Ideally, you want a straight line from your knee to your hip to your shoulder. Or knee slightly behind the hip if possible. Front and back. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Last 2. Front and back. One more time. Bring it towards your chest. Bring it back. Your hip is in extension. Stay here. Bring it as far back as you can. Think about pressing the hips forward. Squeeze the ball and relax. Squeeze a little harder. Relax. 2. Squeeze and relax. 3. 4. There's minimal movement for most of us. It's okay, but you should feel it. Mostly the hamstrings or the top leg. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Squeeze as hard as you can and hold it. Hold it. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And then relax. Take the ball out. Bring a leg in front of you. Flex the foot toes towards the knee. Massage it out where you felt that. My leg was shaking the last few repetitions. I hope yours was too. I hope you felt that. Put the ball to the side and come down onto your belly. So we did this a number of times, but in the opposite direction. We're going into spinal flexion. Now we're going to work on extension. So, but we're still going to be peeling the spine, the chest really, off the mat one vertebra at a time. We're going to start with the elbows bent, forearms close to the body. You want to be able to bring the forehead down onto the mat. It might be on a yoga block or a towel if that's more comfortable. Legs stay straight, legs are close to one another. From here, start just by squeezing shoulder blades together and down your back and relax them again. Do that again. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and down your back. Relax. One more time. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and down your back. Hold it position. Hold it engagement. Lift your forehead off the mat and then slowly start peeling your chest off the mat. Your forearms are on the mat, but you're not necessarily pushing 100% into the forearms. They're just for a little extra support. And then slowly lower back down. Keep going. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and down your back. Lift your forehead off the mat. Your abdominals stay engaged. Imagine you have an ice cube under your belly button. You don't want your belly button to touch that ice cube. So you're drawing in and up. Just a few more like this. Curl up. And slowly lower back down. Lift. And lower. One more. And then slowly lower all the way back down. Keep your elbows bent, but bring your hands one on top of the other and rest your forehead on your hands. Your legs are still straight and close to one another. You still have that ice cube under the belly button, so your abdominals are engaged, belly slightly lifting up off the mat. Already in the starting position, your glutes are engaged a little bit as well. We're not done with the glutes and hamstrings yet. Keep your forehead literally glued to your top hand. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Keep the ice cube under the belly button, abdominals engaged, and then lift the upper body up. Your arms lift up, your head lifts up, your chest is peeling off the mat, and then slowly lower back down. We have 4 more like this. Lift and lower. 3 more. Lift up and lower down. 2 more. Lift and lower. Just 1 more like this. Lift and lower all the way back down. Rest your forearms all the way down. Rock the hips side to side. For our next variation, you can stay with the same option, or if you want a little bit more, once you lift up, you're going to straighten the arms, you bend the arms, and then you lower back down. Now, if you add this variation, you're not necessarily opening your arms into a T, so when you do lift the arms up, your upper arms stay where they are in space, you straighten the arm, you bend and lower. So there's no movement from the shoulder once you're up. The movement is coming from the elbow. You just straighten and bend the elbows. And you can leave it out if you need to. Lift up, open, close, and lower. Just 4 more. Lift, open, close, and lower. 3 more. Lift up, straighten the arms, bend the arms, forehead on the hands, and lower. Last 2. The abdominals are still engaged. Glutes and hamstrings are slightly toned as well. Lift up, open, close, and lower. I think that was 5. Let's do 1 more. Lift up, stay up, open, and close the arms 5 times. Open and close. 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower all the way back down. Rest your forehead fully on your hands. Rock the hips side to side. Windshield wiper your legs if you want. Now, as I told you, we are not quite done with the glutes and the hamstrings. Take your ball, pillow, towel, whatever you have, place it between your ankles. We're going to add the last 3 things together in a way. We're going to work the glutes, the hamstrings, abdominals always work, and then we're going to go into extension. Choose the position for your arms that works for you. Arms alongside the ears will be the most challenging. You can have the arms in a wide position, elbows bent to cactus arm position where we need to be. We are going to be lifting everything up, and then we hold there for by the count of 5, and we'll lower back down. If you have a ball or something you can squeeze between your ankles, while you're holding the Superman position, we're lifting the arms and legs up, you squeeze and relax a little, squeeze and relax. When you lift up, the focus is you want to lift the knees, at least the knees, ideally the thighs off the mat, without arching your lower back excessively, so that ice cube and belly button still there, abdominals engaged. Find a position of your arms that works for you. Lift up, squeeze, relax. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower everything back down. And again, lift, squeeze, relax. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way back down. 3 more. Lift up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower back down. Last 2. Lift up, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Last 2. Lift up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Lift up again, squeeze and relax. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. 1 more time. Lift up, squeeze the ball just once and hold it there. Focus on reaching back, like your feet reach straight back, whatever is behind you. So you can lift the thighs a little higher up. Continue squeezing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release all the way back down. Let go of the ball, bend your knees, windshield wiper your legs. If the ball is still on your mat, just push it over to one side. Bend the elbows. Place your hands somewhere alongside your lower ribs so that your elbows are more or less over your wrists. Engage your abdominals. So same idea here, that ice cube and the belly button. Your knees stay down on the mat. From the crown of your head to your knees, you want to maintain it pretty much a straight line. And then press up into this half push-up. Knees are down. You don't want this. You want to stick the tailbone out. You don't want the hips to go down. It's not an up dog or cobra. You want to have a straight line again from your knees to the crown of the head. Abdominals are engaged. Bend the elbows. Lower back down. Engage your abdominals, squeeze your glutes, lift up, straighten the arms, and lower back down. Stay with this variation if you need to. If you want to, try tucking the toes under, your knees lift up, and the same way, you press up into a plank. and lower back down. Whichever option you're doing, just 2 more. Press up and lower down. 1 more, lift up and lower all the way back down. Untuck your toes, either tuck under, press back into a child's pose. Open the knees wide, let the hips sink back towards the heels. Lift your torso up and then turn towards the long edge of your mat. You're going to stagger your feet so one is in front of the other. I suggest placing the top foot, the foot of your top hip, in front of the bottom foot. It's going to feel more comfortable this way, I think. So you're on the inner seam of your top foot, the outer edge of your bottom foot. Your bottom hand goes slightly out to the side. Fingers may point forward and maybe slightly out. That's going to feel better on the shoulder, so the shoulder is slightly externally rotated. Before you go anywhere else, push the ground with the bottom hand. Find engagement in the obliques on the bottom side, just like when we were in the same very similar position on the forearm. Push down into the hand, push down into the feet, top arm reaches up. Inhale here. As you exhale, lift the hips up, find a side bend. You're side bending your body. If you need to, you can keep your knees down. And then lower back down. Bottom knee could be down or both knees could stay down. So maybe you just lift up here. That could be it. Maybe you lift up here. That could be it. Maybe you lift all the way up. And lower back down. You're 3 more on this side. Lift. And lower. Last 2. Lift. And lower. Last time, lift up. Lower back down. Bring the hips all the way down to the mat. Whatever was your top arm, that hand reaches out in the opposite direction. Your bottom hand reaches up and over for a stretch. Turn your chest up towards the sky. And come back to center. Switch your legs to the other side. Adjust as you need to on your mat. Again, top foot in front of bottom foot. That bottom hand is slightly out. You don't want the hand directly on the shoulder because it wouldn't really work. So you want the hand slightly further out. Push down, find engagement in the obliques. Your variation. Knees down or up, your choice. Top arm reaches up and over. And lower back down by bending the knees. 4 more. Lift. And lower. Last 3. Lift. Lower back down. Last 2. Lift up and over. And lower down. 1 more. Lift. And lower. Keep the hips down on the mat. Reach in the direction where your feet are. The bottom arm reaches up and over for your mermaid stretch. Turn your chest up towards the sky. And release that. Hands reach towards the front side of the mat. Plant them about shoulder width apart. Bring the hips up and back into a downward facing dog. We're going to use down dog to stretch the hamstrings. Paddle your feet, bend one knee, press the opposite heel down towards the mat, and then switch. If you're not comfortable in your hands, feel free to sit down and do the next stretch from a seated position. If you are comfortable enough on your hands, stay in your down dog, pick up your right foot, cross the right ankle over your left knee, and then bend the left knee as well. Figure 4 stretch. Not the most logical place to do it, but why not? We're still loading our hands or shoulders. Switch to the other side. Right foot is down. Cross the left ankle over the right knee. And then bend the standing leg. Stretching the glutes. Release that stretch. Walk your hands to your feet or your feet to your hands. Stay in it, forward fold. Bend your knees, let the head hang heavy, just sway from side to side. Bend your knees a little bit more. Round your spine one last time, roll up. One vertebra at a time, just like we've been doing this whole time. All the way up to standing. That is the last thing to come up. Take a few big circles with the shoulders. Shoulders come up to your ears, back, down your back. Forward, up, back, and down. Arms reach up towards the sky. And bring your hands to your heart. Namaste.